Welcome to my channel. I am your host, lots of fun. I'll be bringing you some gaming, entertainment, and I'll be trying to make you laugh. In this video, we are doing, well, you obviously know what this is, If you don't know what it is, well, tough luck for you. So I'm not going to be saying what this is, because I'm pretty sure most people, or even everybody knows what this is. And it struck me this one day, I was looking up some Call of Duty creepypastas, and some of them were pretty, creepy. Some of them were stupid, like laughingly hilarious, stupid. If you don't know what a creepypasta is it's like an urban legend, a horror story, where it's based off a game or something in real life, something like that. Now, these stories could be true, and most of the times they're not. So in this one, you guys decide. It is a Call of Duty creepypasta. It is called Call of Duty Black Ops 2 Zombies Nightmare Mode. So you guys can decide whether it's real or not. I'll leave it up to you. Now, let's get started. And I did not make this one. I don't know who made this. Whoever made this, if you know whoever made this creepypasta, please tell me in the comments below. And if you want me to continue more of these, I will do more. I will try my best. And with that, let's get started with Call of Duty Black Ops 2 Zombies Nightmare Mode. Remember, I did not write this, and this is not me. This is somebody else. This is the true story of what really happened to my friend and I over Christmas break. I don't want to disclose my real name, in case it does exist. I don't want it to find me. So I would just call myself, and my friend, I'll call him Alex. Our story begins with the purchasing of a used copy of Call of Duty Black Ops 2. I didn't want to spend the $60 for a new copy from a store, so I tried looking on eBay and Craigslist, and Craigslist had a few used and new copies. But there was a used copy on eBay for only $3. I thought how lucky I was, and even if it was just a hoax, $3 was no loss. I looked at the time posted, and it was only a few minutes before I had logged in, so there was still the buy now option. Immediately, I clicked on it and made the purchase. Curiosity got the better of me, and I checked the user. Jokero643's rating. He had only a few sales, but he was rated as a 96% mailing the day of purchase, and usually including overnight for free. Going to sleep later that night, I was extremely psyched to finally get the newest sequel of the franchise and get my hands on the new Zombies, my personal favorite. I never really enjoyed multiplayer because I'm not that good against MLG pros, but I stand up pretty well against the living dead. The next morning there was one of those mail order packages from Walmart with a bubble wrap on the inside and a yellowish-orange paper on the outside. My name was addressed in, but there was no return address. Not thinking anything of it, I brought the game to my room, plugged my Ethernet cable into my laptop, bridged connections, and started up my Xbox. I didn't live because I'm in college and I didn't have the chance to even touch the game since finals were a month away after its release. So I decided a solo game would be a nice warm-up. When I got into the main menu, there was an option, connect to Facebook. In my head, I thought, it must be to post high rounds to tell friends that you're playing, so I clicked that option. A box came up asking me for my username and confirmation code that will be sent to my phone instead of using a password. After submitting the data and hitting OK, I hopped into the main hub, selected Transit, original difficulty, and sorry, my bad. And hopped into game number 1. I've seen some gameplay online, some from Big Star 123 and Syndicate, so I had a general idea on what to do. The first thing I noticed there were zombie faces. They weren't the blue-eyed zombies that I had seen it before in regular gameplay footage. No, these zombies had the faces of my friends. I was looking straight into the faces of one of the kids I went to high school with. I turned around and saw a face of a girl who lived on one floor up, and down the hall from me in my dorm at college. I was rather impressed. Apparently COD franchise had used my friend's faces basically to make a very similar face and put it on the zombies I was currently looking at. So using the tactics from Black Ops 1, I put 6 shots in the nearest one, the guy I knew, and then knifed him. A horrible shriek came from him, as if somebody had just been stabbed next to me. I was a little alarmed, but I assumed it must have been that update for a more realistic experience. Turning to the girl again, 6 more shots and a knife. At the time, it sounded like the girl had been stabbed as she fell to the floor and quickly became silent. Slightly perturbed by this, I paused the game and went to my volume controls, turned voices to 3, and master to 6. Running to collect the mannequin and fan head before the other zombies broke into the room through the window, I had 2/3 of the turbine complete. I shot the last 2 zombies with my friend's faces plastered on them, conveniently hitting both with 6 shots to save on ammo, and knifed both, which, like the last two, screamed and howled. It seemed like the volume change actually made the voices slightly louder, and a little more wretched, as if they were in pain rather than dying. I grabbed the little airplane instead of Max's voice, saying to complete the device. I heard a woman's voice call out, "Please, don't hurt us, we can stop," and then ended with the familiar static like the radios usually do. By now, the zombies had broken into the room, and I proceeded with my point-forwarding method of shooting and knifing each time the zombies would scream and fall as my life sliced through them. I felt a little scared. This was a lot weirder than I had assumed, so I paused the game and turned the volume on my TV to 8 out of a maximum of 80. This did the trick, and now the screams more like harsh whispers. When 2 zombies left, I miscounted the number of hits on one, and the 6th shot killed him, dropping max ammo. I knew from watching Syndicate that Richtofen would say something, so I resorted to the volume to its normal level. It picked up the perk. Richtofen did his usual scream, but instead of talking about the evil, he said, "Oh, don't mind her. Oh, don't mind her. She's not important access. Max ammo." I placed the turbine and walked into the little elbow room, got the cow catcher, and armed the bus with it. The zombie followed me outside the bus depot, and as I picked up the B-23R, he began to break the door. The automated bus driver turned around, red eyes flashing, and yelled, "If he breaks that, you will never ride again." I freaked out and shot him in the head. The 3-round burst was an instant headshot, and this time the zombie said nothing, just fell down. The bus began to move now, making its way to the diner. My phone went off. Alex was calling me on his way home from work, asking me if my game came. I told him it did, and if he got the new update with the Facebook friends faces and the screaming zombies. He said he didn't, but he would check when he got home, and if I could come by so we could play split screen. I told him I was on round 1, but he said his sister took his game to his girlfriend's house for a sleepover, and he didn't want to wait till the next day of the game. I turned off my game, put the disc in the case, and drove to his house. Once the disc was in his console, we fired it up, but he had no updates. There was also no option to link his Facebook to this game, like I had done not even 30 minutes before. He thought I was just messing with him, giving me the "yeah, okay" look, and asked if I wanted to play easy or original for my first time with him. I said easy, and he scrolled down to difficulty, hit right, but a new setting was displayed, Nightmare. I looked at him and asked if he had that on his disc, and he said no. Looking confused and a little unsettled, I asked if he was man enough, and of course he agreed with the confident "hell yeah." So we started the game. The intro music was slower and seemed to be backwards, not sounding anything like what the music was supposed to be. There was also a steadily increasing blood pattern on the page that replaced the loading bar. When the page was completely covered, the game began. The room was unchanged, but the zombies had a new color of eyes, red. The faces were still the people I knew, friends from Alex's at my high school. He just stared and said, "What the F?" He ran right up to one of the guys we were playing soccer with. Looked at him, getting closer, getting hit once as he did. Unlike in a regular game, which shows a single red tick mark, this hit put him in the same mode when you have Juggernaut and you get hit 4 times. Slowly recovering with red all around you, slowly recovering with red all around you. I came up and knifed the zombie 3 times, which screamed and fell to the floor. We both knew that this was not right, but neither of us wanted to pansy out of the game. The same speed checks came when we finished the turbine, along with the first perk drop. At the end of the round 1, the 4 cracks and lava appeared like it normally does in round 3, forcing us to leave early. I was relieved to see that lava was not overpowered in this mode, as I would have been met with defeat when crossing lava fields. Like the one in between town and the bus room. There was no part in the little elbow room, so we got on the bus, grabbed the B-23, and took the bus off before any zombies could chase us. As the bus got to the diner, we hopped out and began to mow the undead town. Even at round 2, it took 2 bursts from the B-23 to kill the zombies, or 1 burst to the head. Alex also pointed out how headshots made them stop screaming when they did. We camped the rest of the round and most of the next one as well, and saved the last walker so we could get the power. I had more cash than Alex did, so I opened the door and he said he would tell me where the parts of the power switch were. But as I jumped down, I noticed a long line of blood starting where the drop point was and going all the way to the door. I followed it and led me right to the switch, where a person laid their hand on the switch. I walked to the man, my left finger on the trigger, pointing right at his head in case he moved. I think Alex and I had the same thought. As I got closer and closer, some of the zombies sprang up and charged at me. I missed his head and instead hit his torso with 3 bursts and his chest dropped him. As he laid on his back, I walked to his face to confirm my fear. It was Alex's dad's. It was Alex's dad's face on the zombie, staring blank-faced up at us. Alex let out a scream of curse words and was about to quit, but I told him to stop and it's just a game. The hand was missing on the lever, so I went looking for it. 3 minutes later, I still couldn't find it, even with Alex looking on my screen and trying to find it. So I thought maybe we already had the hand. I ran back to the body of Alex's dad and clicked the knife button. A simple first-person cutscene took place, where I had to tap RS, the right thumbstick, 3 times, the right trigger 3 times, to get the hand off, picking it up with X, and finish the building the power switch with power, which scored the electric zombie appeared as he normally did, and teleported away. Instead of Max's talking, the girl whose voice we heard before spoke again, saying whatever we do, do not go to the cabin. I decided to turn off the power to see if Richtofen would say anything else, and he followed up with, "Who was that busty body woman? It's not Sam. Who is it? Why? Don't listen to her. She must have left the marbles with the body." In his German accent. When we heard this, we were slightly reassured that this was actually part of the game. So I headed up like the stairs and assembled the electric trap while we waited for the bus to come back. Upon hearing the honking, I hopped down and we both got on the bus on our way to town and the much needed juggernaut. I instantly started to knife the driver, who said his unusual bit about not touching him, and his eyes flared red and he roared, "I told you!" The bus doors fell off like someone had removed the screws from them, and the bus screeched to a stop. The zombie that was sprinting after the bus ran to the bus, but his speed was not reduced like it should have been. Alex and I ran out of the bus, bursting into the following zombies, killing him. So round 4 began. We were trapped in the middle of the road between power and town, and that scratching sound the denizens make sounded. We took off toward 3 foggy lights in the near distance, knifing and jumping to try to get those little demon babies off our heads. As we came into the clearing, we were relieved we arrived at the cabin in the woods. Zombies were already spawning, so we took positions inside and tried to hold it down. Alex was the first to reach 3,000 points and bought the Bowie knife, but as he pulled up his gun after Bowie disappeared from view, the zombies turned around and ran at the same speed as if they were chasing the bus. The 4 tick marks faded away and instantly saw a text box flash in the corner reading, "You should have listened." A thud was heard, and we ran down to the windows to see what was the noise. A single zombie with red eyes was outside by the tree stump. I assumed the thud was him pulling the axe out of the stump. He picked it up and began to walk to the cottage, where we both sat looking at him. The woman's voice played again. "I told you not to." The voice dropped an octave or 2. "Come to this." The voice got even lower, turning into a low, growling man's voice. "Kevin, now you shall die." The zombie lunged, no clipping to the side of the house, and with the flat head of the axe hit Alex's character in the head, knocking him to the floor. I began to shoot as fast as I could into the zombie, trying to kill him as he raised the axe and brought it straight down in line with his nose, so he was looking up at the blade. The zombie stepped off him, and I turned and sprinted away in the forest, trying to get away from Alex's screen. Alex's screen did not go to the spectating mode, but kept looking up as the zombie raised his axe one more time, yelling, "Die!" and brought it down on his neck. The camera was squared with blood and rolled to the side, letting us watch as he took off out the door. A denizen hopped on my head, and as I neared the bus when the axe zombie caught up to me, it knocked my character to the ground, vibrating as my character slid. I tried to press A or B to stand up, but I couldn't. My fingers were jammed so hard on the left stick to move forward that I had red marks forming. The camera flipped over, and the zombie now stood over me, axe raised, and called out, "Now it's your turn!" As it came down, Alex's Xbox red ringed and the screen went black. 5 words appeared in the white text, slowly turning pink and then red. "You shouldn't have done that." I jumped to the Xbox and yanked out the power cord, but the red ring remained. I pulled out the AV cable from the back, but that did nothing. Alex ran to the wall and pulled the power cable off the wall. Finally, the TV turned off. That night, we walked to the gas station in silence, carrying a 2-gallon red container of gas, filled it up, and brought it back to the house. When we got back, the red ring was still glowing, red like the eyes of the zombies in the game. I got a shovel out of the garage, and we dug a small hole in his garden and burned his Xbox right then and there. When it was done, we scooped it up and put it in the trash can, and I drove it home. When I got home last night, I had a message waiting for me on Facebook. "You shouldn't have done that." The profile was from that happy mask salesman from Majora's Mask. In my opinion, he is the true definition of evil, the real meaning of fear. I deactivated my account and I haven't signed in yet. This is just a warning for all gamers out there. If you ever get a copy of Black Ops that asks for your Facebook account, put down the controller, take up the disc and smash it. And if you ever start a game of zombies and there's the option for nightmare difficulty, well, you know what it is now. Okay, well, that was a really long creepypasta, and it was a really good one too. I give that from a 1 to a 10. I give it a bone chilling, a bone tingling, which is roughly a 6.8 out of 10. Now, there were some flaws to it, like, okay, it's believable. It's believable with the whole Facebook thing, because when it asks you for Facebook, you can sign in, and you can use Twitter, you can use YouTube. Facebook, when it does it for me, it shows my friends' gamer tags, what they've been playing and all that. So that happens, but with the whole faces and all that, that's ridiculous. Now, there were the blood it was getting on my... We really didn't use that much blood in it, but when you do a creepypasta, it's more effective when you use less gore. When you just describe it without the use of blood in it. So that really got my nerves. It was cliche too, where he had to go... He didn't want to buy $60, and he went on eBay or Craigslist and looked it up and blah blah blah. So, what do you guys think of the creepypasta? That's what I want to know. I give my score 6.8, and it had some flaws, a lot of them too. Just a whole lot, you know. Why didn't he destroy the disc before, you know? Why he heard screaming, you know, thinking it's like an update? No, if it's like, if you hear screaming like that, look up, go to like the freaking forum, ask Call of Duty if that happens, and they don't, then, you know, take out the disc. They never do that. Well, I give it a 6.8 out of 10. Now, if you guys want to hear more of these creepypastas, let me know. I'll do more. And with that, I just have one final saying. Do not gamble, because the slots will always win. Good night, everybody. Max Ammo!